She didn't know she was a game. Not at first. Ava had always been the quiet girl in the corner, the kind who preferred books over boys and solitude over spotlights. At university, she slipped through the chaos unnoticed until he noticed her. His name was Jace. Golden smile, reckless confidence, the type who made every girl turn twice and every guy want to be him. The first time he approached her, it was during a late autumn drizzle, her hair damp, her arms full of library books. He offered an umbrella, his grin a little too perfect, his tone a little too smooth. She hesitated, smiled politely, and took it. That was the beginning. What she didn't see were the whispered snickers behind him, the cruel gleam in his friend Riley's eyes, the scribbled bet on a bar napkin to nights before. Get Ava Williams to fall for you before winter break. $1,000. At first, Jace treated her like a curiosity. She didn't react to his usual tricks. She didn't care about his car, his parties, or his reputation. Instead, she challenged him. When he cracked a joke, she asked him why he needed to deflect with humor. When he leaned in close, she tilted her head and asked what he was really looking for. He told himself he was just playing the game, but it started getting hard to tell where the game ended. And she began. The turning point came one late night on the rooftop of her dorm building. She'd brought him up there to show him her secret, the stars. She kept a little telescope, old and scratched, and every night she charted constellations. They're the only thing that stays, she told him, her voice quiet. Everything down here changes. Up there, it's still something cracked in him that night. She didn't know about his past, how he'd grown up bouncing from house to house, how stability was a foreign word, how love had always been conditional, transactional. With Ava, it felt different, real, dangerous. But the deadline loomed. Winter break was 3 days away. Riley kept grinning every time he passed Ava in the halls, counting down. Clock's ticking, lover boy, he'd whisper. And Ava had started looking at Jace like he was her anchor, like he was the one thing that might stay. The guilt rotted him from the inside. He tried to tell her, twice. The words caught in his throat, choked by fear and selfishness. Then came the night that shattered everything. Ava had made him a gift, a hand-bound book of her favorite poems, each one with a note beside it explaining why it reminded her of him. Jace didn't deserve it. He knew that, but he didn't know she'd be standing outside the party when Riley drunkenly yelled across the lawn, "Yo, Jace, that's over, right? Did she cry yet, or are you still pretending to be Romeo?" Time slowed. She stood frozen, her book clutched against her chest, her eyes wide, trying to make sense of the words. Jace stepped toward her. She stepped back, then ran. He found her hours later on the rooftop. It was raining again. Her telescope was gone. She didn't look at him when he approached. It started as a bet, he confessed, his voice cracking, but it didn't stay one. She turned slowly, eyes red but burning. And that makes it better? I fell in love with you. Somewhere along the way, I forgot the game. I swear. She shook her head. You don't get to rewrite the beginning just because you hate the ending. He reached for her. She stepped back. Ava, you don't get to touch me, Jace. Not anymore. Thunder rolled behind her as she walked past him, down the stairs, and into the dark, and just before she disappeared, she whispered, "You were supposed to be different." He stood in the rain, heart pounding, trying to hold on to the pieces of a love he didn't deserve, not knowing if he'd ever get another chance or if he even should. Jace didn't sleep that night. He sat soaked on the rooftop long after Ava was gone, the rain washing the heat from his skin but not the guilt from his bones. Her words echoed louder than the thunder, "You were supposed to be different." That line dug into him like glass under skin. He kept waiting for her to call, to text, to rage at him. But there was nothing. Silence. Cold and clean like the truth he'd tried so hard to bury. By morning, Ava was gone. Her dorm room was empty. The girl at the front desk said she checked out early, didn't even say goodbye to her roommate. She'd packed fast, quiet, like she didn't want to leave a trace, like she didn't want to be found. He tried anyway. First, her favorite coffee shop, closed for renovations. Then the bookstore she used to haunt. The girl at the register said she hadn't seen her in days. Then the astronomy lab. Nothing. Even her telescope was gone. It felt like Ava had erased herself from every corner of the world he could touch. That night, Jace snapped at Riley for breathing too loud. Riley, of course, laughed like nothing mattered. "She'll get over it, man. Girls like her always do." Or maybe she won't. Either way, you won. Jace swung hard. The punch cracked Riley's lip open and sent him stumbling into a couch. The party around them hushed, music still thumping, but the energy shifted. Riley wiped the blood with a laugh. Guess she mattered after all. Jace walked out, fists shaking. He didn't go home. He went back to the rooftop, hoping for a ghost or a sign, something to prove she wasn't gone forever. Instead, he found something unexpected. A single page of her notebook had blown into the corner near the ledge. He recognized her handwriting instantly. Trust is like glass. You don't notice how fragile it is until it breaks. And once it does, it's never whole again. Days passed. Finals came and went. Jace flunked to exams. He didn't care. He barely saw anyone. The boy who once lived in the center of attention now avoided eye contact, haunted by what he lost. Then came a flash of hope. Her roommate Ellie found him slumped against the dorm vending machines. She's staying at her grandmother's cabin in Whistler. No phone, no internet, just stars. He begged for the address. Ellie hesitated. Why should I help you? He swallowed hard. Because I don't want to win anymore. It took him 2 days and a snowstorm to get there. He had to hike the last half mile because the roads were iced over. By the time he reached the cabin, it was dark, and snow was falling heavy and slow, like ash from the sky. A dim light burned in the window. He knocked. Nothing. He knocked again, harder. Footsteps. A shadow moved inside. Then the door opened. Just a crack. Ava, hair messy, cheeks flushed from the cold. Her eyes widened, then narrowed. Are you following me now? He stepped back. I had to see you. You saw enough, Jace. You won your money. Go home. I never took the money. Then why did you come? Because I never meant to hurt you. I came to find something real, and I found you. But I was already too broken to see it until it was gone. She stared at him, unreadable. You think a speech fixes everything? No, I think nothing will fix it. I just needed you to know it mattered. He turned then, heart pounding, footsteps crunching in the snow. He didn't expect her to call out, but she did. Wait, he turned. Slowly, she was standing there in the doorway, arms folded, staring at the stars above his head. You came all this way, just to say that? Yes. Then stay, but don't speak. She stepped back, left the door open. He followed, not knowing if forgiveness waited inside, or just one last goodbye. The cabin was warm, but the silence was colder than the snow Jace had just left behind. Ava curled up on the armchair near the fireplace, legs drawn up, blanket pulled tight like armor. She didn't offer him a seat. He took one anyway on the floor near the hearth, where the flames lit his face with flickers of orange guilt. She didn't look at him. He didn't try to make her. Minutes passed, maybe hours. Time bent in that quiet room, stitched together by the distant crackle of wood burning and the quiet rhythm of two hearts no longer in sync. You lied, she finally said, her voice low. But that's not what hurt the most. He looked up. What hurt, she continued, was that I trusted you. I told you things I've never told anyone, and you used it. I didn't use it, he said softly. I heard you. Maybe for the first time in my life, I really listened. And that scared the hell out of me. Ava's jaw clenched. Her eyes shimmered, but she blinked the tears away like they didn't deserve to fall. I wasn't some project, Jace. I wasn't a test. I know that now. Then why couldn't you stop? I was afraid, he said, voice cracking. Afraid if I told you the truth, you'd disappear. But I lied and lost you anyway. A gust of wind howled outside. Ava stood suddenly, walked toward the window, and pulled the curtain aside. Snow was falling heavier now, cloaking the forest. In silence, she spoke without turning. Do you know what it's like to finally feel seen, only to find out it was all a performance? I do now. She turned. Tell me something you've never told anyone. What? You want this to be real? Then give me something real, something that costs you. He hesitated, then nodded. My mom used to leave me in the car while she went inside bars. I was 6 the first time. I told myself she just forgot. I waited all night, hugging a stuffed tiger. When she came back, she laughed and said I was too soft. I think I've been trying to prove her wrong ever since. Ava stared. The wall between them cracked just slightly. He exhaled. Your turn. I still dream about my father, she said after a pause. He died when I was 12, heart attack. One minute he was laughing at some stupid joke I told, and the next he just wasn't there. I blamed myself for years. I thought maybe if I'd made him laugh less, he would have stayed longer. Silence returned, but it was different now, heavier, shared. That night, they didn't touch, they didn't flirt, they just talked. Two wounded people unraveling in the dark, no longer pretending to be anything else. By morning, he was still there sitting on the floor, back against the couch, her blanket now draped over his shoulders. Ava was asleep on the chair, head tilted, lips parted slightly, the sun painted gold across the snow outside. He stood quietly, stepped toward the door. Ava stirred. Leaving? Just getting wood for the fire. Her lips curved. Come back, he nodded, stepped outside and nearly collided with a man standing near the trees. A tall man in a dark coat, pale face, sharp jaw, watching the cabin. Can I help you? Jace asked, heart suddenly racing. The man smiled slightly. You already have. What? But the stranger had already turned and vanished into the woods, leaving nothing but footprints in the snow. And a sudden spike of dread in Jace's chest. He rushed back inside. Ava looked up, frowning. Everything okay? I'm not sure, he said slowly. Do you know anyone who'd be following you? Her expression changed instantly. Not confusion, fear. She stood, walked to the window, stared out at the trees for a long time, then whispered, he found me. Jace closed the door and bolted it, his pulse thudding like a warning drum inside his chest. Ava didn't move. She just kept staring through the window, her eyes pinned to something that was no longer there but still felt terrifyingly close. The color had drained from her face. Ava, he said carefully, who was that? She didn't answer at first. Then softly, almost like she didn't mean to say it aloud, she whispered, Liam. Jace stepped closer. Who is Liam? She turned. Her voice was calm, too calm. The reason I left everything behind. Jace's stomach turned. You need to tell me. She sat down, hands shaking now. It started 6 months ago. He was in my poetry class. Seemed sweet at first, thoughtful, quiet. Said he liked the way I wrote. Said I made sadness sound beautiful. Jace didn't breathe. He started showing up everywhere. Outside my dorm. In the library when I hadn't told anyone I'd be there. He'd leave flowers on my doorstep. Quotes from my own poems scribbled on sticky notes. She swallowed hard. It was flattering at first. Then it got weird. Obsessive. He asked for things, locks of my hair, worn t-shirts, pictures of me. Asleep. I said no. He said if I didn't love him back, he'd make sure I never loved anyone again. Jace knelt in front of her. Did you tell anyone? I tried, but there was no proof. Campus security said he hadn't done anything illegal. Just intense affection. He disappeared for a while. After midterms, he dropped out, but I kept finding notes under my door. He knew where I was, even when I moved dorms. So I came here. My grandmother's place. No digital footprint. No one knew. Until now. Jace stood. I'm not letting him near you. Ava gave a small bitter laugh. That's the thing. You already did. He stared at her. What are you talking about? She got up and pulled something from her coat pocket, an old photo, torn at the edges. A party shot. Ava, half smiling in the background. Jace in front, arm around someone. Liam. Jace's blood ran cold. He was your friend, she said. Wasn't he? I barely knew him, Jace said, eyes wide. We met at a few parties. I don't even remember talking to him more than once or twice, but he remembered you, Ava said. I found your name written in the margins of one of his notebooks, over and over, and a line from one of my poems. The fire you light will burn your hands first. Suddenly, the fireplace crackled louder. Wood shifted. Sparks hissed upward. Jace moved quickly to douse the fire but froze. Inside the flames, something gleamed. He grabbed a poker, stirred the logs, and pulled it out, a steel pendant. Still warm. He turned it over. Inscribed on the back were the words, You can't keep her from me. Ava stepped back. He's been inside. Jace's mind spun. How? The door was locked. The back one isn't. I didn't think I'd need to lock it. No one knew I was here. Jace rushed through the cabin. The back door stood half open. Snow trailed. And next to the threshold, in the shape of boots, one set of fresh footprints leading inside, but none going out. He turned, heart hammering. A floorboard creaked above them. Ava's eyes widened. They weren't alone, and somewhere upstairs, Liam was waiting. Jace moved first. He grabbed Ava's wrist and pulled her behind him, heart pounding, instincts screaming. The floorboard overhead groaned again. He counted the rhythm of the steps, slow, deliberate, like someone who wanted to be heard, someone who was enjoying the fear. He reached for the fireplace poker again and whispered, "Get to the car." Ava shook her head violently. "Keys are in my room, upstairs." Jace's stomach dropped. The cabin creaked again, louder now. A soft tap tap tap, like fingertips dragging across old wood. Ava's breath hitched. Jace stepped to the bottom of the stairs, straining to hear. Then nothing. He crept upward, every step a betrayal underfoot. Ava followed, silently, barefoot, trembling. The upstairs hallway stretched dark and narrow, lit only by moonlight bleeding through the small window at the end. 3 doors, all closed. He whispered, "Which one's your room?" She pointed to the one on the left. He nodded, then slowly turned the handle. It opened with a quiet click, empty, neatly kept. Her telescope sat by the window, pointed toward the stars she hadn't dared look at since Liam reappeared. Then he saw it, on her pillow, a red ribbon, torn, familiar. Ava gasped. "That's from my dorm, from last semester." "He's been carrying it," Jace muttered. A scraping sound broke the silence. Not upstairs, not downstairs, inside the walls. He turned fast, heart leaping. A sharp knock from inside the closet. Jace moved toward it, poker raised. Ava reached for his arm. "Don't. We need the keys," he said. "We need to get out." He flung the closet door open. Nothing, just coats, boxes, silence. Then, from behind them, the floor vent. A sudden bang, like something crawling inside. The duct cover clattered to the ground. He grabbed the keys from her dresser. "Run." They bolted downstairs, feet slipping on the wood. Ava flung the front door open only to freeze. The car, slashed tires, a single rose on the hood. Behind them, something moved. Jace shoved Ava toward the trees. "Go, now." She ran. Jace turned, swinging the poker. The shadows danced. A figure stepped out from the edge of the trees. Pale face, dark coat, that same airy calm. Liam. He didn't speak, just stared. Jace raised the poker. "Stay away from her." Liam tilted his head. "Funny, that's exactly what I told you." Jace stepped forward. "This ends tonight." Liam grinned, unblinking. "It already has." A flicker of motion, then pain. Jace stumbled back, blood blooming across his side. A knife. He hadn't even seen it. He hit the snow hard, gasping, as Liam walked past him like he was nothing. "Ava." Jace croaked. "Run." She turned in the woods, eyes wide, snow glowing around her, then froze because Liam wasn't alone. A second figure emerged from the trees. A woman, older, same sharp jaw, same dead eyes. Ava's voice broke. "Mom?" The woman smiled. "You didn't think he found you by accident, did you?" Ava's world tilted. The snow, the trees, even the stars above seemed to twist and blur as she stared at the woman standing beside Liam. Her mother, not dead, not lost, not some tragic story she'd buried long ago, but here, in the flesh, wearing that same cold smirk Ava had seen once, long ago, right before she disappeared. Jace groaned behind her, struggling to stand, blood soaking his side. Liam didn't stop him, didn't even look back. All his focus, their focus, was on Ava. She backed away slowly. "What is this?" Her mother took a step forward. "Closure. You left me. You vanished and let me think you were dead." "Because I had to," her mother said simply. "I couldn't raise you. I couldn't protect you. But I could watch." "You watched from the shadows? From behind him?" She pointed to Liam, rage twisting her voice. "You sent a stalker after me?" "He's not a stalker," her mother said. "He's family." Ava shook her head. No, he's not. He's your half-brother." The words landed like ice water in her lungs. Ava stumbled. "You're lying." Her mother's gaze hardened. "We share the same blood. I didn't want you to know. But when you started writing those poems, pouring out secrets, feelings, exposing every crack inside you, I knew I couldn't let it go on." "So you let him follow me?" Ava shouted. "Scare me? Hurt the only person who ever loved me?" Liam finally spoke. His voice was soft. "I never wanted to hurt you. I wanted you to come back to us, to be part of us. You don't belong with him." Jace struggled to rise, pain etched into every movement. "She belongs with whoever the hell she chooses." Liam turned, blade still dripping red. "You don't get to speak." Neither do you, Ava hissed. You stalked me, broke into my cabin, played with my life. You were always mine, Liam said. From the day you wrote that poem, The Flame That Outlived the Match, I knew we were connected. I felt it. You're insane. I'm your family, he whispered. We all are. Even your mother. She found me. She made me understand. We're the same, Ava. Broken, abandoned, meant for something deeper. Her mother stepped forward, hands out. Come with us. You don't have to run anymore. We can start over, as a family. Let him go. He was just a game. Wasn't he? Ava looked at Jace, pale, shivering, still trying to stand. And suddenly, she remembered the night on the rooftop, the stars, his voice when he told her about being left in that car, the way he stayed, even when she told him not to. No, she said. Her mother frowned. No, I wasn't his game, Ava said, eyes hardening. He was yours. All of this, every twisted, sick part of it was. You found him, used him, broke him to break me. Liam stepped forward, face darkening. You don't get to walk away. I already did. She threw the keys to Jace. Drive, now. He caught them, barely able to stand, but the adrenaline lit a fire inside him. He limped toward the backup truck parked under a tarp beside the shed. Her grandfather's old beast still had fuel, still had hope. Ava stepped between Liam and her mother. If you follow me again, you'll wish you hadn't. Then she turned and ran. Jace had the engine started when she jumped in. The door slammed shut. Behind them, Liam screamed, a sound not of rage but of loss. Jace floored the gas. Tires spun. Snow flew. The forest blurred. Only when they hit the main road did Ava speak. Why didn't you leave me behind? He looked over, bloody and broken, but eyes still burning with something she'd never seen in anyone before. Because you were never a bet to me. You were the thing I didn't know I needed until I almost lost it. She swallowed hard, tears rising. They'll follow us, I know. Then what do we do? He didn't answer right away, just drove faster, until headlights flashed ahead, not behind, ahead. A black SUV blocked the road, no plates, no markings. As they skidded to a stop, Ava gripped the door. Then a man stepped out, not Liam, not her mother, someone else, and he smiled like he knew her name. The man approached slowly, boots crunching the snow like a clock counting down to something terrible. He was tall, late 40s, maybe, with slick gray hair and the kind of smile that didn't touch his eyes. Ava locked her door, heart racing, while Jace fumbled for something, anything in the glove box, but there was nothing useful. Just an old road map and a frozen bottle of water. The man tapped the driver's window twice with a gloved finger, calm, patient, like he had all the time in the world. Jace cracked it an inch. We're leaving. No, the man said, his voice smooth as velvet. You're delivering. What? He held up a phone. Ava's phone. He flipped it to show a live video feed. Liam, bloodied, bruised, tied to a chair, breathing, not dead. Jace's breath caught. What the hell is this? The man's eyes flicked to Ava. Didn't she tell you everything? Of course not. She doesn't know either. Ava's voice shook. Who are you? Someone who's been watching from much farther than the woods. You thought Liam was the threat. You thought your mother was the monster. But they were just echoes, scattered pieces. I'm the reason she disappeared. I'm the reason you were left behind. Her throat tightened. Why? Because your father was one of us once, until he ran, until he took you and tried to give you a normal life. He died for that betrayal. Jace reached for the ignition. But the man was faster. He pulled a gun from his coat and pointed it straight through the glass. Turn that key, and she watches you die. Jace froze. I don't want to hurt you, the man said calmly. I only want what's mine. Ava's voice cracked. I'm not yours. You are, in blood, in purpose. You were raised as a lamb, but you were born a wolf. She stared at him. What do you want? I want you to come with me, alone. Liam dies if you don't. I'm not going with you. Then he'll die screaming. Ava's fingers gripped the door handle, knuckles white. Jace whispered, Don't do this. I have to, she said, voice breaking. This doesn't end if I run. The man smiled wider. Smart girl. She stepped out into the snow, wind biting her skin, every instinct screaming to stay inside, but she forced herself forward. The man opened the SUV door, and that's when it happened. The sound was soft, distant. A gunshot. The man froze. A second. Gunshot. Then static on the phone screen. Liam slumped forward. Someone else appeared behind him, her mother. She was bleeding, wild-eyed, holding the gun with shaking hands. Then the phone cut out. The man's smile vanished. No. He turned, stunned. Ava moved. She lunged, grabbed his wrist, shoved the gun aside, and Jace was out of the truck in a flash, slamming into the man with every ounce of strength he had left. They fell into the snow, fists flying, guns skidding across the ice. Ava dove for it. The man rolled over Jace, hand to his throat. You were never part of this, Jace gasped. And you never understood her. Ava pulled the trigger. The sound echoed through the trees. The man dropped, cold, still. Jace lay back, breathing hard, bleeding, snow turning red beneath him. Ava dropped beside him. He smiled weakly. So, was I worth saving? She kissed his forehead. More than anyone. Sirens wailed in the distance. Her mother must have called them. Help was coming. But the war wasn't over. Just a chapter. Closed. Ava looked to the trees, to the stars, to the storm that finally broke. And in her heart, she knew. She was never just a bet. She was the story they could never control. And now, it was her turn to write the ending.